Let me tell you what it feels like to sit alone in your kitchen on your 40th birthday while your husband throws a surprise party for his 26-year-old assistant. Correction, mistress. My name's Lena Morales, and I'm not someone who usually makes waves. I'm a financial auditor, aka a professional buzzkill, and I tend to play things safe. I married Caleb Torres 12 years ago. We were the power couple people whispered about in the office. Same firm, different departments. He was charismatic, I was competent. He made people laugh, I made sure the math worked. Honestly, we worked. Or at least, I thought we did. So there I was, sitting in the dark like some rejected Hallmark character, sipping overpriced wine from my favorite mug that says, I excel at everything, get it? Excel? Accountant humor. I had tried to ignore the weird tension that week. My friends kept canceling dinner plans. Caleb said he was swamped and would make it up to me on the weekend. I'm not clueless. But I wanted to believe, you know? Then I opened Instagram. First post, Jules, his assistant, pouting with a balloon crown. Caption, I have the best boss ever. Can you believe this surprise rooftop party? Hashtag blessed, hashtag birthday queen, hashtag work perks. Swipe. Second post, Caleb standing behind her, hands on her waist, smiling like he invented birthday parties. Swipe. Third post, my friend Sarah, the one who canceled our dinner, posing with a champagne flute, tagged at the same location. Her comment? Wouldn't miss this night for the world. I dropped my phone into my pasta. I wish I was kidding. There it was in neon-filtered Betrayal. My husband, my friends, my colleagues, celebrating Jules on my birthday at a rooftop bar I had literally mentioned wanting to go to last week. And me? Eating boxed spaghetti. In fuzzy socks. Alone. The rage didn't come all at once. It came slowly, like a luxury car gliding through traffic, steady and inevitable. First was the betrayal. Then the humiliation. Then the bone-deep realization that Caleb hadn't just forgotten me. He'd replaced me. But here's the thing about being the woman people underestimate. You learn to be quiet, calculated. You learn where the bodies are buried. And I knew everything about Caleb's career, especially the parts he hoped no one would ever find out. So I dried my hands, poured another glass of wine, and opened my laptop. If Caleb wanted to gamble with my dignity, I'd make sure his career got torched in the fallout. And let me tell you, he never saw it coming. They say revenge is a dish best served cold. I say it's best served with a VPN, a pot of strong coffee, and 3 years of backed-up digital receipts. After the great Instagram humiliation, I didn't confront Caleb. Not yet. That's not how auditors do things. No, we verify, we document, we cross-reference. And then we drop the hammer. So I waited. The next morning, I made coffee like nothing was wrong. Caleb strolled in wearing the same smug expression he probably wore while ordering birthday cupcakes for his mistress. He kissed the top of my head, and asked how my quiet night went. I smiled. A little too brightly. Reflective, I said. Yours? Just, work stuff. Long day. Reflective. That was one word for it. Another would be nuclear. Because while he was out being the human embodiment of a walking HR violation, I had already started snooping. And oh, honey, what a treasure trove I unearthed. First, I borrowed his phone. Not literally, I'm not stupid. I cloned it. There's a delightful little tool Nora, my best friend and occasional digital vigilante, introduced me to years ago. All I needed was 10 uninterrupted minutes with his device. Caleb, in his oblivious glory, left it charging while he showered. Big mistake. Once it synced, I had access to everything: texts, emails, calendar invites. Within hours, I had confirmation of the affair. And not just text to Jules, the man was a cliché factory. You deserve the world. I feel more alive with you. And my personal favorite, Lena would never understand us. Understand? Oh, Caleb. I understand Excel macros. I understand federal tax code. You really thought I wouldn't understand you? But the cheating wasn't even the worst part. Hidden among the sweet nothings was something way more interesting. Spreadsheets. Transfers. Shell company names. Money being funneled from our firm's internal discretionary accounts, allegedly for wellness perks, to a company called Torres Consulting LLC. One problem: Torres Consulting doesn't exist. Except, wait, it does. Registered 6 months ago to an address in Jersey. Under my name. Using my credentials. My tax ID. He didn't just cheat. He forged financial documents using my professional identity to embezzle from the company. Now that, ladies and gentlemen, is when the revenge plan evolved from petty to biblical. I created a folder on my desktop called You Done F*** ed up. Inside it, I began organizing screenshots, transfers, voice memos, photos. I logged every lie, every illegal transaction, every grotesquely filtered picture of Jules blowing kisses with company cash. And while he kept smiling over dinner and texting his wellness guru, I kept building the case. The thing about being quiet for so long is people forget you're capable of violence. Not the loud kind, the efficient kind. The kind that doesn't land you in jail, just leaves them jobless, broke, and publicly ruined. I was almost ready. Next stop, the gala. A perfect stage. High-profile guests. Executives. Press. Caleb had no idea it would become his public execution. I've always believed that if you're going to ruin someone, do it in heels. Which is why, 3 weeks after Caleb's rooftop betrayal, I walked into the annual Women in Finance Gala in a blood-red evening gown with heels high enough to signal war. The event was one of the most exclusive our firm sponsored, half networking, half PR stunt, all ego. And this year, I was the keynote speaker. Caleb, of course, had been thrilled. "You're gonna kill it, babe," he said that morning, barely looking up from his phone. Probably texting Jules about how my outfit wasn't really her color. I smiled sweetly. I planned to. Here's what he didn't know. I'd already tipped off the SEC with Nora's help. I'd already emailed an encrypted copy of my You Done F*** ed up folder to our firm's CEO under an anonymous alias. And I had one more surprise queued up for the gala. As the guests poured in, bankers, journalists, shareholders, I mingled like nothing was brewing. Caleb showed up with Jules on his arm, her dress so tight it looked vacuum sealed. She giggled like she'd already won. My stomach turned, but I kept smiling. Their downfall would be more satisfying than any slap or scream. I took the stage at 8:12 p.m. sharp. The lights dimmed. Applause. The standard "what an honor to be here" opening. Then I pivoted. Tonight, we're celebrating women in finance, integrity, resilience, and transparency, I said. But we can't talk about integrity without confronting what threatens it. I saw Caleb freeze mid-sip of champagne. Let me show you something. A screen lowered behind me. The lights dimmed further. The first image appeared. A spreadsheet. Internal fund names. Transfers. Dates. A signature. Mine. I let the room whisper, shift in their seats. Next slide, a text from Caleb's phone. Don't worry, I used Lena's name again. She never checks. Gasps. Next slide, a photo of Caleb and Jules, poolside, courtesy of a private investigator. The same weekend he told our CEO he was at a finance retreat in Aspen. And then came the piece de resistance, a video. Caleb's voice, recorded by a phone left accidentally in his office. Worst case, Lena takes the fall. She's got the credentials, she'll survive. She always does. Let me tell you something about a man being exposed in a room full of people who used to respect him. It's a deliciously awkward symphony. First the silence, then the murmurs, then the not-so-subtle calls and texts as board members and journalists scrambled to confirm what they just saw. I thanked the audience and walked off stage. Applause started slowly, then louder. I wasn't sure if it was out of support or shock, but I didn't care. By the time I got to the lobby, Caleb had already been escorted out by security. Jules? She tried to follow but was stopped and asked to return her firm-issued ID badge. I didn't stay for dessert. I did, however, swing by the valet and leave a tip so generous the attendant whispered, "Queen behavior," as he handed me the keys to my car. That night, my inbox exploded. The CEO wanted a meeting. Legal wanted statements. The media wanted quotes. And Caleb? He wanted a lawyer. The morning after the gala, I woke up to three things. A sore jaw from how hard I'd been clenching it in my sleep. An email from our firm's legal team requesting a confidential deposition. A voicemail from Caleb that started with, "Babe, this is all a huge misunderstanding," and ended with, "Call me, please." I did not call him. Instead, I called Karen, the meanest divorce lawyer in the state. Yes, her name is literally Karen. And yes, she wears it like a weapon. We met for coffee that afternoon. She took one look at my folder labeled Torres, Asset Seizure Strategy, and said, "Oh honey, this is going to be fun." Let me back up. In addition to the embezzlement, the infidelity, and the public humiliation, I found out Caleb had also opened a secret savings account under his name only, into which he'd been slowly siphoning off funds from our joint account. You know, just in case Lena got boring. Cute. With Karen's help, I filed for divorce that very week. And we did it loudly. Not the trashy kind of loud, but the kind that makes your soon-to-be ex panic when the envelope is hand-delivered to his corporate apartment while his mistress is live-streaming a makeup tutorial in the background. Apparently, nothing ruins a smoky eye for daytime video like a process server yelling, "You've been served, motherf ****er. Caleb tried to spin it, of course. He claimed I overreacted, that the money thing was just creative finance, and that Jules was temporary. He actually said that. About a human woman. Jules, for her part, ghosted him within 48 hours of the SEC issuing a formal investigation. Her Instagram, which once featured daily snaps of overpriced salads and captions like #grindtime and #bossbabe, went dark. I'd almost feel bad for her if she hadn't posted a story from my bathroom 2 months earlier with the caption, "His place is so chic," smiling face with hard eyes. My place. My towels. My husband. Yeah, no sympathy. Meanwhile, Caleb's world disintegrated like damp paper. His accounts were frozen. His firm suspended him indefinitely. The board called an emergency meeting where they basically voted exile. No returns. Our mutual friends? They dropped him faster than a crypto scam. And the best part? Every reporter who called for a quote, every podcast that wanted the inside scoop, every LinkedIn post that tried to spin the scandal into a teachable moment, they all had to go through me. And I said exactly what needed to be said. My husband tried to steal my name, my reputation, and my future. He forgot I knew how to audit forensics. This was never about drama, it was about justice. Click. Send. Published. My divorce settlement came through 3 weeks later. I got the condo, the dog, obviously, and a chunk of his remaining investments that hadn't been swallowed by legal fees. I also filed a civil suit to recoup damages for identity fraud. His new lawyer, some sweaty, underpaid associate from a firm that advertised on bus stops, didn't even try to fight it. He begged me to meet for closure. I told him closure would be watching him deliver food in an Uber Eats shirt. Here's the thing about surviving public betrayal, corporate sabotage, and a wildly public divorce. People either pity you or they promote you. Fortunately for me, my company went with the latter. 3 days after the gala, I got a calendar invite titled, Urgent, Private MTG, Kendricks Morales. Now, Mr. Kendricks is our CEO and a man with the emotional warmth of a granite countertop. He's been known to fire people via calendar invite, so I braced myself. Instead, he offered me Caleb's job. Technically, he said, adjusting his cufflinks, we can't say you saved the company, but off the record, you saved the company. I accepted with a smile so tight it could cut glass. Now I had a corner office, a salary bump large enough to make my ex-sob into his lawyer's recycled tie, and the satisfaction of deleting Caleb's stupid voice message from my inbox forever. But the real joy? Oh, that came later. You see, one of the few things Caleb was good at, aside from cheating and financial crimes, was curating his professional image. His LinkedIn was a gallery of fake humility, vague accomplishments, and that one picture where he posed with his sleeves rolled up like he'd just finished solving Wall Street's biggest crisis. His headline used to read, Empowering Teams, Inspiring Change. Finance isn't just numbers, it's people. I gagged every time I saw it. Well, about a week after my promotion was announced publicly, I logged into my own LinkedIn to post a simple, elegant message. Grateful to be stepping into a new leadership role during such a pivotal time. Integrity is the foundation of every sound investment, financial or otherwise. Hashtag CFO, hashtag women in finance, hashtag accountability matters, hashtag actually earned it. I didn't tag Caleb. I didn't need to. Mutual saw it, reposted it, applauded it. Within 24 hours, it had 12,000 reactions, 400 shares, and one very satisfying side effect. Caleb deleted his entire profile. But wait, there's more. Nora, my ever-petty partner in cyber justice, emailed me a screenshot from a corporate Reddit thread where an anonymous user, I wonder who, tried to paint Caleb as the real victim, claiming his wife overreacted and didn't understand how business works. Cue the comments. If she's the one who exposed fraud, I think she understands business just fine. Lena Morales is a queen and I would die for her. Sounds like someone just got dumped and indicted in the same month. I printed them out. For posterity. Meanwhile, Jules tried to resurface on social media by rebranding as a relationship coach. Her most recent post read, Sometimes the people who hurt us the most teach us the best lessons. Ma'am, you got dumped, publicly humiliated, subpoenaed, and now you're charging $299 for a Zoom call on self-worth? I admire the hustle, but please go heal in private. As for me, I was too busy settling into my new life to look back. But every now and then, I'd get a little ping on my phone. A news alert about Caleb's court date. A mutual friend asking if the rumors were true. Someone at the firm laughing about how his name had become code for screwing up badly. And every time, I'd sip my coffee and think. Not bad for someone who was just a wife. If you think taking down your husband's criminal empire is satisfying, let me tell you, it's nothing compared to walking into a family dinner post-divorce, looking like $1,000,000, and knowing you have the moral high ground and the legal paperwork to back it up. 3 months after the gala, my mother insisted I attend her annual Torres family fall dinner. Even though Caleb and I were in scorched earth territory, she thought I should be mature and show my face. Of course, she also used to say boys will be boys when Caleb canceled on anniversaries, so yeah, we're not exactly aligned. I wasn't going to go. But then I thought, no, let's go. Let's go with expensive wine, a tailored dress, and a disposition carved from cold steel and non-disclosure agreements. I walked into the house right on time. My heels clicked against the tile like a warning shot. Everyone turned. My mother's eyes widened. Caleb's parents, both devout fans of his charm, gave me the forced smiles of people who knew a storm was coming but didn't want to acknowledge the lightning until their hair caught fire. Caleb, to my surprise, was there. Thinner, paler, wearing a discount blazer and the fragile smile of a man who had Googled how to look unbothered by your ex-wife's success and failed the quiz. "Lena," he said, rising. "Caleb," I replied, setting down the wine. I brought a Merlot. A little dry, a little sharp. Thought it matched the tone of the evening. Silence. We sat. Dinner was a festival of avoidance. Small talk about weather. My mother bragging about the neighbor's son getting into med school. Nobody asked about my new job, or my very public win, or how Caleb was holding up now that his mistress had sold him out to SEC investigators. But I was prepared. "So, Caleb," I said sweetly over mashed potatoes, "how's the job hunt?" He froze. "Oh, still looking," he muttered, poking at his plate. I turned to his father. "Did you hear I'm CFO now? They said they needed someone with ethics." Wild, right? Someone choked on green beans. "Lena," my mother hissed. "What?" "I'm just making conversation. This is what grown-ups do, right?" His mother cleared her throat. "We don't need to dwell on unpleasantness." Of course, I smiled. Though, for the record, I think it's incredibly pleasant that my name's no longer being used to launder company funds. You could hear the wine breathe. Then, calmly, I reached into my purse and pulled out a manila folder. Yes, that folder. I slid it across the table toward Caleb's father, a retired accountant who once told me I didn't have the backbone to make it in corporate finance. "Just some light reading," I said. "Caleb's little side projects. Thought the family might want to understand why the Torah's name is being investigated for white-collar crime." He opened it. The color drained from his face like water down a sink. Caleb stood up abruptly. "This is inappropriate." I raised my wine glass. "So was your affair. So was the fraud. So was trying to pin it all on me. You didn't mind being inappropriate when you thought no one would call you on it." He stormed out. No one followed. I took another bite of roast chicken and said to no one in particular, "Anyway, the stuffing's great." Later, my mother pulled me aside, eyes wide. "You've changed." "No," I said. "I've stopped shrinking." It was a Tuesday. Cold, gray, and uneventful. I had just wrapped a meeting with our new cybersecurity contractor. Ironic, given how badly Caleb underestimated my tech savvy, and I was craving pad thai like my life depended on it. Normally I'd order from the app, but something in me said, "No, Lena. Go get it yourself. Stretch your legs. Embrace the day." I didn't realize I was about to stretch my soul with joy. I walked into my favorite Thai spot downtown, a cozy little place run by a woman named Dow who once refused to let me pay when I showed up there crying after finding the first breadcrumb of Caleb's betrayal. She also referred to him as Oily Boy ever since. The restaurant was half empty. I was scanning the menu board when I heard it. That voice. That oily, condescending, used-to-be smug voice. "Order for Davis? Chicken sauté and a pad thai, no peanuts." I turned. Slowly, like a lion who's just spotted the world's dumbest antelope. And there he was. Caleb Torres. In a windbreaker that looked like it had seen better decades. Holding a paper bag. Wearing a name badge that said, Dash Club Driver, Caleb T. Hair slightly longer than it should be. Eyes darting like he was one bad Yelp review away from existential collapse. Our eyes met. For a split second, he didn't recognize me. Then he did. His face did that thing where it tries to smile and die at the same time. "Lena?" I gave him the most dazzling, pity-laced grin I could summon. "Caleb. Wow. You're out and about." He cleared his throat. "Yeah, well, staying busy." I almost laughed, but instead, I walked past him and placed my order with Dow, who winked at me like we were in a spy movie. While I waited, Caleb awkwardly shuffled near the napkin station, like a sad little server from a sitcom with low ratings. That's when it hit me. The name on the takeout bag? Davis. My neighbor. 2 floors down. Not me. But now? Oh, it was going to be. When Dow handed me my pad thai, I handed her my card, then turned to Caleb. Actually, could you deliver this to my apartment? I just remembered I need to hop on a call. Unit 1405. Name's on the buzzer. He hesitated. You want me to? Oh, please, I said. It would mean so much. He took the bag. I drove home. Took the elevator. Beat him by 10 minutes. When he buzzed, I let him up. He looked winded. Of course, he took the stairs. The elevator's been slow for weeks, and I knew he'd try to avoid awkward small talk with a doorman who still remembered him as Mr. Morales. I took the food from his hands with a smile. Then I pulled a $100 bill from my wallet and pressed it into his palm. For your time, I said. He stared at it, confused. Then at me. Then down at the bag. It's not even your. It is now, I said, and closed the door. I ate on the balcony that night. Warm pad thai, red wine, and the sweet taste of a universe that doesn't always get it right, but when it does, it really delivers. I thought Caleb had finally learned to take the L. Silly me. It had been a solid month since the Thai food incident, a moment I still think about whenever I need an emotional boost, right up there with puppies and revenge montages. Life had settled into this new rhythm, quiet, controlled, mine. Then came the email. Subject: potential opportunity for resolution. From Mark H. Levinson, ESQ. The lawyer Caleb had hired, if you could call him that. I'd Googled him months ago. He had a 2.4-star rating on Avu and once defended a guy who tried to sue a dog shelter for emotional distress because a pug looked at him wrong. I clicked it open expecting nonsense, and oh, did it deliver. Dear Ms. Morales, my client, Mr. Caleb Torres, would like to pursue an amicable agreement regarding reputational damages and defamation stemming from recent events. We propose a joint statement clarifying that certain allegations remain under legal review and that both parties maintain mutual respect. Mr. Torres believes such a statement may assist in rebuilding his professional opportunities. Please respond within 5 business days. Regards, Mark H. Levinson, ESQ. I reread it 3 times, just to absorb the audacity. Reputational damages? Mutual respect? Clarifying allegations? I let out a laugh so sharp my dog Charlie left the room. Here's what Caleb didn't know. Because he was too busy crash-burning his career to notice the week before, I'd been interviewed for a Forbes feature titled Women Who Changed the Game, 10 Finance Leaders Reshaping Accountability. Guess who was number 3 on the list? I had just approved the final draft the day before. It included a photo of me in my office, one hand on my hip, the other resting casually on the glass conference table like I owned the damn skyline. The caption read, "After exposing corporate fraud and reclaiming her narrative, Lina Morales didn't just survive scandal, she rewrote the script." So I forwarded the lawyer's email to Nora. Her response was immediate. Nora, want me to write him a respectful cease and desist with a little virus attached? Nay polish. Tempting. But no. Instead, I replied to Mr. Levinson with 2 sentences. Dear Mr. Levinson, I decline. Kindly inform your client that any future communication should be directed to my legal team, Lina Morales. Then I blocked the address. I even lit a candle while doing it. Sage, eucalyptus, and the ashes of male entitlement. 2 days later, the Forbes article went live. The feature exploded. Colleagues I hadn't spoken to in years messaged me. Women from other industries wrote me thank you notes. My assistant printed the article and framed it. It sits behind my desk now, next to a small plaque that reads, "I audit ledgers and lives." Corny? Maybe, but earned. That afternoon, I got a text from an unknown number. Saw the article. You really are something else. Always were. See. I stared at it for a moment. Then I blocked the number. No witty reply. No middle finger emoji. Not even a ... to imply hesitation. Because blocking isn't just a digital gesture. It's a spiritual one. A declaration that I'm not obligated to carry the weight of someone else's destruction just because I watched them dig their own grave. And baby, I've got better things to do. Exactly 1 year to the day after the rooftop party, the one that kicked off the great betrayal, I threw a party of my own. But mine wasn't for some 26-year-old side piece in a bodycon dress and borrowed self-worth. It was a celebration of something far rarer, reclamation. The guest list included CEOs, journalists, nonprofit directors, and most importantly, women. Women who had been erased, overlooked, underpaid, and spoken over in boardrooms their whole careers. We called it the Table Rebuilt Gala. Because if they won't give you a seat at the table, you flip the damn thing over and build a new one. It was held at the same rooftop venue Caleb had used for Jules' birthday. Full circle. Except this time, I stood center stage, shoulders back, heels tall, glass of rose in hand, welcoming people who understood exactly what it meant to be underestimated and still rise. Toward the end of the night, a young woman approached me. Maybe 25, maybe 26. Brown curls, nervous smile, name tag that read, Eva C., Junior Analyst. I just wanted to say, she began, fidgeting with the edge of her name tag, I read your story in Forbes and I left a toxic job because of it. They promoted a guy who literally stole my ideas, and I thought, Lena wouldn't take this. Why should I? I smiled, warmth blooming in a place where resentment used to live. Good for you. She nodded, then added quietly, they said I was too emotional. That I should be more like you. I raised an eyebrow. They want you to burn their careers to the ground, too? We laughed. She relaxed. Later that night, I gave a short speech. Nothing dramatic, no projections, no folders, no audio clips this time. Just truth. I used to think my biggest strength was knowing how to keep things from falling apart, I said. Turns out, my real power came when I finally let it all burn and built something better from the ashes. Cheers. Then came the moment I hadn't even planned for. One of the foundation partners, an executive I once thought barely noticed I existed, approached with an envelope. For you, she said. A donation. In your name. We want you to choose where it goes. Inside, a check for $500,000. Put it towards something that changes the system, she said. Reader, I cried. Not ugly cried. Not mascara running, shoulder-heaving sobs. Just quiet tears that tasted like closure. Like the final page of a chapter written entirely in survival. As I packed up that night, Eva, the analyst, came back over. I meant to tell you, she said, cheeks flushed with excitement. I just accepted a new role. My first seat at the table. Strategy team. They asked me what kind of leader I want to be. And what did you say? I said, I want to be the kind of woman who makes it very clear what happens when you F*** with the wrong one. I handed her my glass. Finish that for me. You've earned it. They always come back. I don't know if it's guilt, ego, delusion, or some combination of all three. But men like Caleb? They never just disappear. Not quietly. Not completely. So when I saw the message, I wasn't surprised. It came a week after the gala. The event had gone viral again. The check had been donated, half to a legal fund for women whistleblowers, half to a scholarship I set up in my mother's maiden name, because while she never saw me, her name deserved to be on something bold. The message came late. 2:14 a.m. From a new number, but I knew it was him. The phrasing had that same pathetic cadence, like a man who once considered himself important but now edits his own apologies in Notes app drafts. Hey Lena. I know I'm the last person you want to hear from. Just wanted to say I'm sorry. I messed up. I see that now. I was scared. You were always more than I deserved. Hope you're doing okay. No question. No ask. Just a ghost rattling its chains. I stared at it for a full minute. Maybe more. I wasn't angry. I wasn't amused. I wasn't even tempted to reply. The truth is, I felt nothing. Because I had already buried him, not in the literal sense, tempting, but in the emotional, spiritual, soul-deep kind of way. He'd been surgically removed from my life so completely, I wasn't sure if I remembered the sound of his laugh anymore. And that was peace. So I did the only appropriate thing. I blocked the number. And then, for the first time in what felt like years, I powered down my phone not because I was spiraling or crying or trying to escape, but because I didn't need it. The next morning, I woke up before my alarm. There was no dread in my chest. No rehearsal of comebacks. No mental gymnastics about what I should have said, or could have done, or might regret. I made coffee. Strong. Just the way I like it. I opened the curtains. The sun poured into the kitchen like gold. Charlie padded over, tail wagging, unaware that this ordinary morning was extraordinary in its own quiet way. Because this was the first morning in over a year where I woke up entirely free. No husband. No guilt. No war in my head. Just me. The woman who got sent to the kids' table of her own life and flipped it. The woman who built her own name into a fortress. The woman they tried to silence, sideline, and steal from. Now, I'm the storm they see on the radar and pray passes them by. But I never pass by. I arrive.